Hey there, Jimmy G here back in the Lads Lounge, and I'm sitting here with Babyface,
Babyface, you remember. Good job.
aka Heidi, and well, here we are.
Here we are.
We tried to do this earlier, but we're doing a retake
Yes,
only because we had a power outage, but which is none of your concern as the listening audience.
that is true.
All right, so first thing is obviously I already gave your name, so we know who you are.
Yes.
Tell us about your childhood, where you grew up.
So I am originally from Maine, but when I was 5, my mother met this abusive, alcoholic Russian immigrant, and he wanted to move to Los Angeles. So we followed him, and I left all my family, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and things got pretty bad pretty fast. He was very abusive. There was a lot of domestic violence that I witnessed. He was abusive to me physically. She was abusive to me physically. Both of them, like psychologically, behaviorally, emotionally. Like I always frame it up as like pretty much every way you can abuse somebody besides sexually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was actually worse than he was. She was much worse. And it continued after she was no longer with him.
Psychological abuse,
Oh, yeah.
that sort of thing, where it's they're gaslighting you and they're putting you in a situation where you shouldn't be as
Well,
a child.
that
In a
and
sense.
also like outright stuff like, I would run and lock myself in the bathroom to not be beaten. And then she would say, like, if you don't come out or unlock that door, it'll be 10 times worse than you do. And I knew I couldn't stay in the bathroom forever, right?
Huh? I remember being probably about 10,
Mm-hmm.
and I really never told anybody about this, but when I was like 10, I was going to run away. And I packed a bag in the garage, and, stupid shit that you do.
Mm.
Um, and it just never happened. I remember getting to the point of doing it and going like, where am I going to go?
Yeah, well, I did though.
You
And
know,
I left
did you?
home at like 14 and I went to the streets
Wow.
in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you hit the streets. I mean, home is rough, but
Home is
the
rough.
streets rough
Amazingly
too.
though, like it's really weird. I look back on it and I go like something has to be protecting me because I was in so many incredibly dangerous situations.
Yeah.
We talked a bit about this last time, but like I mean, I was taking the RTD by myself at midnight. We were squatting in a place on 6th and Gramercy, and
Wow.
it was like this creepy old abandoned 4-story house. And sometimes I was the first one to get home.
Hmm.
Um,
Wow.
I got left behind at the street scene, which we talked about,
Yeah.
and I was like roaming the streets of downtown LA. I was 15 years old, and people were like driving by and catcalling and stuff like lowriders,
Yeah.
and like I somehow was never hurt. Like I was not in a physical altercation that I had to protect myself. I wasn't raped. I can't explain it
Yeah.
at all.
Lucky. Just lucky.
Just
Because, I
like
mean,
dumb luck.
yeah, I
Yeah.
always wondered uh, the girls in our scene, I just know there had to be some of that going on,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah, my
'cause-
my best friend was raped by
yeah,
people I knew. People
jeez.
were like turning tricks and selling themselves,
Well,
and I
that's
didn't have to do that to survive.
yeah. I mean, I knew girls that did that,
Mm-hmm.
but that was sort of like that was
They
their
chose
own
that.
gig,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
they weren't being forced to by their
No,
boyfriend
it wasn't
or
human
some
trafficking.
thing.
No,
I didn't ever see it as
they were
that,
very
and in a
independent.
lot of cases, because I knew a couple of girls, they had a racket, man, and
Mm-hmm.
it was when we were hanging out at the fetish club.
Yeah.
And what they would do is they'd go up to the boulevard and they'd flag, kind of, and do the whatever they do, I guess, to
Mm-hmm.
attract a dude pulling up, and then say, "Go down here," But
Right.
then they go down there
And
and
they
they
get
get mugged
jumped.
by a bunch of
Yeah,
people and take their
absolutely.
shit.
Right. I didn't
Um,
do a whole lot of that
yeah,
stuff. I was
that's something you
quiet.
can't do all the time. You can't. If you do that on a reg, then the word's going to get out. They're going to be looking
Sure.
for you. The vice is going to be out there looking.
Yeah, I was
for
never
you.
like even asked to do anything like that. Interestingly enough.
Yeah. Well, lucky break.
Yeah, lucky break for me, right?
Lucky break. So you said you grew up in the Hollywood area, and
I grew
who
up
did you
at
run around with as you started to first hit the streets?
So I actually grew up at the corner of Melrose and La Cienega. So I was right in the heart of like,
Yeah.
you know, all of that. I went to Fairfax for a while.
It's funny, Melrose wasn't what
It
we
is
know
now.
Melrose now.
No, but
There
it
were
was
some
it was like
kooky businesses
retail
there,
slut and poser and you
but
know
there
that kind
wasn't.
of stuff.
Yeah,
So it
like
wasn't expensive. It wasn't fancy like
that
it
too.
is now.
That
Yeah,
too.
and I went to Hollywood High summer school. Went to Fairfax. Eventually got kicked out and ended up graduating from the independent study at University High. And like I think I told you before, like the first real punk friend I had was Adam Wilson,
Yeah.
who wrote Safety in Numbers. We grew up like 3 blocks from each other, and we
Yeah,
met when
so-
we were little kids, long before
So
the
you knew
punk
each other
scene.
before you were punk
We
and
were
stuff?
5 years old
Oh,
when
wow.
we met. Yeah, and
Wow.
then, like we just stayed lifelong friends until he passed away, unfortunately.
Yeah. They always take the good ones, they say.
They do.
You know.
He was talented. He was a good writer. His
Yeah.
books were good.
Nice guy.
He's a very nice
I talked
guy.
to him a lot online.
He's extremely
Asked
kind.
him questions before, you know, he had already done his book, I think.
He did 2 books.
When I started doing the blog. And yeah, I just would poke and ask questions and stuff and
Yeah.
talk to him again mostly online and then we had the pandemic and this and that. He was
Right.
in Hawaii and stuff.
I hung out a lot with him and Brent Alden
Oh,
from
okay.
False Alarm. We
Yeah.
were all really good friends.
It's funny. I didn't ever like know him by his name. I always remembered him by his face, and because of the guy, because you know, with Chaos and those guys hanging out in like kind of
Right,
West Side,
right.
Westwood area, I guess.
But interestingly enough, I, like gang-wise, was not affiliated with Chaos. I was with HRP, Hollywood
HRP?
Rock Patrol. Yeah,
So,
those were my people. That's who I hung out with. That's who I lived with. Like,
how many people were in HRP in those days?
Oh, I'm trying to think.
Was it a large group? Or
It was a pretty large group.
Yeah?
It was Jimmy, Midget, Shooter, Tony, Hawk. I met Godzilla, Billy D, like way after the scene, totally unrelated. Yeah, that was pretty much the main crew. My best friend at the time, Heather, Delphi, and Athena, Crosstown Mary.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Okay, so all the from that same group.
BJ.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize that's where basically that's where you guys are all from.
Oh yeah,
Okay. So you guys rolled the streets of Hollywood there.
all the time.
And then hung out at the cafe.
Hung out at the cafe. Hung out at lots of other, you know, smaller clubs. The Olympic, of course.
Yeah, well,
all
those are the
time.
big shows, though. You know, I mean, like the smaller clubs were like we went all the time.
We did.
You know,
Yeah.
in many cases, and then we went to the Olympic. What was Santa Monica Civic?
Yes.
That was another big place. They had gigs.
I saw Susie and the Banshees there.
I saw a bunch of bands. I saw GBH there. A bunch of I saw gnarly riots there. Yeah, I remember at one point the crowd was out of control and just had taken over the hall, and the doors were open and people were just sort of coming and going at that point. I think it was, you know who it was? I think it was Agnostic Front had played, and all their guys had gotten into this huge beef, come out of the stands and stuff, you know, like nobody even knew they were really there, I guess,
Right.
and they sort of came down and started beefing with everybody.
People used to come out of nowhere.
Yeah, and I remember the bouncers took bottles of ammonia
Oh wow.
and were heaving them into the crowd to disperse people.
That's pretty brutal.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it was like, oh, I mean, I remember everyone was, we're out of here.
Yeah.
But that was one of the gnarly ones.
Yeah.
I remember going there one time on fucking Dilaudid.
Oh.
Doing, like, it's just a synthetic morphine.
Yeah, no, I know what it is. It's a medication, yeah. Oh, also Ricky Tikki Tavi, I forgot to mention, of people I was hanging out with.
Yeah, well, he hung out. Yeah, he was a lad, and then he hung out.
He was
Godzilla's all the fucking
he was
time.
FFF in 18th Street.
Yeah, like he was everybody.
He was everywhere. Yeah.
Everybody claimed him because
I know.
you
'Cause
know
he was
a
nuts.
nut.
I know.
He was a nut, and then I don't know if I told you or was telling somebody that, like the story with Ricky Tikki.
You did, where he came and he like just showed
they're
up
outside
and
the
disappeared.
club. Yeah, like I heard this story, and I forget who told me this, but one of the guys from FFO was telling me they were out there, they were really drunk, brawling with a bunch of guys out in the parking lot of the
Out
club.
of nowhere comes
And I
Time
want to say it
Bomb.
might have been like the 3 of clubs or something.
Mm-hmm.
and out of nowhere, literally, like, it's that, like, Monty Python where the dude runs, and he's like, right?
And he had his speech, yeah.
And he just sort of runs up and boop, 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 knocks, like, a bunch of dudes out. Like,
he was tough for a little guy. He was really tough.
boop,
He was a good fighter.
And then just runs off. And my friend says, he goes, dude, all he was wearing was like maybe a pair of pants, like a pair of Levi's, no shoes and no shirt.
Yeah, he was wild.
And then he just ran up the street and he goes, fuck, what was that?
Yeah. Oh, Nanny was also one of my really good friends back in the day.
All right. Okay. So was Brett...
I didn't know Brett until later.
She's... Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Was she part of the earlier scene? Or?
She was, but I guess our paths never crossed. It must have been either the time I was hanging out or just weird circumstances.
Jimmy's wife.
Yes.
I'd gone, I think... Yeah, I went to their house when they lived here in Reseda.
Yeah, me too.
For like a birthday party for Alex or something.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I met Alex there too.
Stuff. Were you there that night?
I don't know if I saw you there.
You never know.
Yeah.
Maybe. But anyways, okay. So did we start? I guess we got kind of the childhood. I mean, so basically you're running with a gang.
Yes.
And they're your They're your protection. Mm-hmm. They're the people who are feeding you in a sense. You're feeding them. Everybody's feeding each other, right?
Just like, I think I told you in the last interview, like you guys had cars and stuff, and that, like, we didn't have that. Like, we were not living at home. We did not have vehicles. We were
skateboards and the bus.
You know, right. What do you call it? Panhandling to get money for food. Yeah. Or eating at the Buddhist temple that was on Hollywood.
Like the vegetarian dinners and stuff like that. So that's where your vegetarianism came in.
Actually, it didn't come in from specifically that. I was really little. I was like 5 years old when maybe I didn't tell you this story, but I just like realized that certain things had the same name. So I asked my mom, like, is turkey the bird the same thing as turkey the meat? And is chicken the bird the same thing as chicken the meat? And she was like, oh yeah, and steak is a cow, and hot dogs are pigs. And I just like freaked out. I was like, oh my God, why have you been feeding me animals? Yeah. So I was really, really young. Yeah. When I went vegetarian, it wasn't until later that I learned about the dairy industry and
oh yeah, I mean, it's education.
It's totally brutal, and so then I just
and also too in that era that there wasn't that kind of education.
There wasn't a consciousness that should have existed, and I think there still isn't to a large extent, because obviously we still do farming and factory farming, and but to me that was just a huge awakening, and morally I could not feel good about that.
I mean, I've studied a lot of martial arts, Chinese studies, things of that nature.
I've actually been to the Buddhist temple. I think we talked about that, how I tested for my blue belt in China at the monks' temple. And then the monks came a year later to Long Beach, and I tested for my green belt with them.
Nice. Very cool.
I've trained in a variety of martial arts myself.
So, the minute you hit the street, punk rock's already going on.
It's going on, yeah. It was like the height, the early to mid 80s. It was like the height of everything.
Who are you going to see? Who's your favorite band?
Well, my favorite band has always been X and the Sex Pistols, but we saw everybody. We saw UK Subs, Subhumans, Dead Kennedys, Exploited, just like you name it, TSOL, everybody.
Yeah, that's why
Channel 3,
every time
Flipper.
I see, it's funny, right?
Right. 45 Graves.
We went to see Flipper, God, I don't know where, man, but they did their little thing, and then at some point the guy like twisted a bunch of knobs and dropped his guitar, and just it started this screeching back, like feedback noise, and then like they just walked off the stage, and everyone's like and then somebody like a tech kind of went up and finally shut off. I was like, oof.
It's where I first heard Screwdriver as well, who's also one of my favorite bands.
As far as that, because they're considered like the Nazi skinhead thing. They always say like they're a great band.
They're a great band. I just don't agree with their stance on anything. But they were a great band.
Yeah, you got to suffer.
Yeah.
With it, but did you? who did you hang out? Did you hang out with bands? Did you know people that were in bands?
You're gonna laugh, but the band I hung out with the most was the Mentors.
Real.
Yeah,
that is funny.
It is funny. I like went out briefly with like Sicky Wife Beater, and so like we were always at the porn strip club or whatever, where he was like the lighting guy. The lighting guy, yeah. And so we'd be like upstairs while people danced, and you know.
Where was that at?
God, I can't remember.
Somewhere in Hollywood?
Somewhere in Hollywood, yeah. I don't remember the name of the club.
My uncle, he and his partner owned all the sex shops in Hollywood. And in my later years, like, 18, 19, 20, I got all my friends involved with working for him and his crew. And they were all a part of the syndicate.
How funny.
And I didn't know it initially, but then, you start to... The onion starts to slowly peel back as you start to get to know people, and next thing you know, you're in the thick of it, which is just another story I'm going to tell and let people know about at some point. But the stores were so sleazy, man.
They were so sleazy, yeah.
This is the era of handlebar mustaches and frickin' gold chains and hairy chests, man. It was, right? Like, yeah.
So gross, yeah.
Yeah. So, what kind of beefs does your gang have with other people?
Well, I mean, obviously, the people I hung out with was mostly like FFF, HRP Circle One.
Now, were all those gangs cutting it up with each other every minute?
Not every minute.
They weren't.
No,
I know.
But
people think that's what was, because there were all these different gangs, that we were all cutting it up with each other. We weren't. Not. There was a sort of allegiance of gangs, and then there was that gang.
Yeah, it was interesting because I went to school with a lot of people who were eventually lads in Chaos 13, and like I said, like Adam, was my friend, and he was Chaos 13. But then, like, we kind of in high school, I parted ways with them. So, but that was a long time ago.
I remember one time the lads got called to Westwood.
Yeah. I didn't set foot in Westwood till I went to UCLA for undergrad.
Yeah, so I remember, I think it was Alex. I guess it was Alex. He said, hey, these guys we know that are over in Westwood, have a problem with this suicidal dude who works at some place over there. So, it's like, go fucking straighten it out.
Right. I had no idea there was so much going on in Westwood until years later.
Yeah, so we go over there. I remember I had my Gran Torino, which I miss that fucking car.
I remember that car.
And fucking car was loaded. And we pull up to this parking lot, and we park out in Westwood. And all those dudes from Chaos come running out, and they're like, the fucking lads are here, woo, jumping up and down and shit. And I'm like, well, hell, man, and I remember my buddy Kenny, I don't know, at the time I just always, it's funny, like, we were the same age, but like, he was, I don't know, he just had a lot of clout.
Yeah.
I always felt like more of a shot caller at that point. And I was still pretty new at that point, but we went down to some bar down there where the guys from Chaos had some beef with this dude from Suicidal. He ain't worked the door. And we go to the bar, and this dude ain't working there that night. But we decided we're just going to fuck up everything and let the fucking owner know that, like, that dude ain't going to be working here no mo. Yeah.
And, Heather and I hung out a lot in Venice, too, but I didn't meet Suicidals until later.
So we let him know. And then we went back and checked, and he didn't come back.
Bad day
so that
for
was
him.
good. Yeah. So that was good. But I remember us walking around that city that night because we were still in a fever and just still giving some other people fucking jackings a couple, because when you're in when you're tuned up, you're tuned up, like you're kind of like, oh, I gotta get this out.
I feel like everybody was permanently tuned up back then.
Right, it was. We were very angry. Yeah. I can see. I think shit, man. Anger comes from hurt, doesn't it? I mean, it's you were hurt by your friends, your family, someone, something, society, you name it.
I think a lot of us had the burning rage from our families. I don't know. Yeah. That's my take on it.
We were the first generation of the whole latchkey kid where both parents were gone, lots and lots of divorce. That was like rampant.
Yep.
I mean, and I try to tell people good parenting wasn't a thing.
It was not
It wasn't.
thing.
I mean, there were books, but
Nobody
but
listened
like
or
yeah,
read
like
them.
Dr.
Yeah.
Spock,
Yeah.
you know, but people always were, you know.
No, people still fully believed in like corporal punishment, and it was
Yeah.
allowed everywhere.
Yeah, my way or the highway, sister.
Yep.
So there wasn't that. You know, the good parents that I knew were mostly hippies,
Yeah.
like or ex hippies, where they were just kind of laid back and
My parents were definitely
breaking
not
everybody's
hippies.
balls every fucking minute about every fucking thing, you know. But yeah, you know, it's a sketchy fucking time in a big way.
Oh yeah.
You know what it was, and now we have everybody has a voice now, and we now have people coming out of the woodwork and going, "Hey, I was molested, and I was part of some
A lot of horrific stuff.
really
yeah.
weird sexual gangs, apparently, you know, pedophile sex gangs now." And I don't know if that shit was going on back then or not. I guess
don't
we'll
know.
never know, huh? I mean, sometimes it would be uncovered, yeah, and maybe other times it wouldn't be. What was the craziest situation as you roll around the city?
There were a couple. One time we were all at, oh, I forgot to say Joker. Yeah, Dave Joker. We were at Dave Joker's apartment, and they like totally, you know, attacked some guy who was, I don't know, trying to buy or looking to sell. I'm not really sure. I don't
So like
remember,
a drug,
but they all just
drug deal
totally
gone wrong.
bum rushed him and beat the living crap out of him. But I still think the wildest was the LA street scene with the riot when the cops on horseback, you know, were just like
They just
hitting
went
everyone
overboard,
with
huh?
batons. It was horrible.
I wasn't there. I was already, I think, in the Navy at that
Yeah.
point, or just started in the Navy.
I was the day I got lost downtown, so like it just I lost my ride. All the people I had come with, you know, found their car and left, and I was stuck there by myself. I remember somebody, I don't even know who, might have been Ricky, put his hands out and gave me like a leg up over a barbed wire fence, and I cut the
hell
inside
out,
of my
man.
thigh, which was not fun.
Yeah.
And then I was like wandering around at like midnight downtown and figured out like the RTD and a way to get back to Hollywood.
Those buses didn't even run after 11 o'clock.
Not a
in
lot of
many
them,
places.
yeah. But
And good luck. We didn't have cabs.
No,
we
we
never
did
New
not.
York
No.
like that. Now you got Uber, you got some
Yeah.
cabs, you know, but not back in those
not
days.
back in those days. I think that was the one time I called to my mom for help. I found a payphone because none of us had cell phones, of course.
Yeah.
Found a payphone and called her and begged her to come pick me up. And she's like, "I don't know that area. Figure it out."
Yeah. Cell phones were on Star Trek,
Yeah,
right? And we didn't have them.
we did not.
Didn't have cell phones. Didn't have cameras.
In a way, I'm kind of sad because so much of that could have been documented better.
Yeah.
But in a way, I'm glad because it was freedom.
I wish I had a time machine. I'd go back with like a really good, you know, I'd go back and I'd have money somehow. And then I would buy a very expensive recorder to record bands and do quality band recordings.
Right.
And then the other flip side with this, I'd have the best camera ever made for that time period, and I would just start taking photographs of everyone, everywhere, doing anything at all times,
Right.
and just document it, because that's kind of why I'm doing these interviews in a sense. It's sort of like the people who were in the crowd were the fucking show.
Oh, absolutely.
The goddamn bands were just starting out. They were okay. Some were phenomenal,
Right.
but they were okay.
The crowd was
The
was
crowd
interesting
and the
thing
shit that
drew
would go
everybody.
on from
Yeah.
the slamming to the stage diving to pogoing. Like I remember seeing English bands. We'd do all the slamming there was to slam. You know, we lived to slam, slam to live, and we'd go everywhere doing that. And then all of a sudden, like a punk band or like an English band, or an oi band, would go, and then everyone would just be pogoing.
Right.
So, and like I always tell people about that Bad Brain show that was at Devonshire Downs, like greatest show fucking ever, man. They would do those fast tunes and then break it up with a reggae tune, and everyone would be slow skanking,
Yeah.
and then it'd be Pay to Come and going crazy, like.
Oh, Bobby Two-Tone was also one of my friends back then.
Oh right.
I think I don't know if he's in prison or if he died in prison.
Wow.
He was a good dude, though. We're buddies.
There's just a lot of good people, you
Yeah.
know. Also fractured, also damaged,
Oh, yeah.
just like you and I.
One person that really looked out for me was Chainsaw.
Oh yeah.
It's interesting because I've heard from other girls he wasn't great to them, but he was like a big brother to me.
Yeah.
He always had my back.
That's cool. And And again, not for something. Not going to turn you out.
Oh no.
To
No, he was
yeah,
very
I'm your friend,
protective.
and then now I get favors or something.
Nothing like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing like
I don't
that.
think. Well, again, I'm sure it was there. That's how I'm kind of looking around. I'm sure I'm going to find that
I think you
sad
will.
story.
Yeah.
Because
well, I know a couple of the sad stories. Lucky for me, I just wasn't one of them.
And it's weird because over the years, you have friends and you connect, and then you lose touch, and then you hear stories that are horrific stories about people. And
Oh yeah.
I don't like to go with the whole rumor thing, anyways.
No, I
I just don't dig it. Like, I want to hear it face to face. I want to know what the fucking real dirt is. I don't want to hear the well, someone so told me that blah blah blah. And no. And like
telephone, right?
yeah.
But I don't know if you knew the Hollywood Headhunters. I was also friends with them, like
I remember
Ramon,
the
Sick Boy,
name.
and Baby Crazy.
Yeah, I remember the name.
Ramon was one of my best
There was a
friends.
guy that we beat the living shit out of, and he was from Hollywood Punks.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he was from your group or not, but this dude was like 6'7", 6'8".
Not sure.
And he came out one night, and he had a mohawk, and he was in the back of the cafe. And man, all of us were tangling with this dude, but this guy was fucking like, he had the longest legs and the longest arms. Like, you couldn't get on the inside. And I remember like I would go at him, and I would go real low, like I would do some martial arts on him, and I'd come in real low and then kick him in the leg, and then I'd pull out, and he'd swing him, and he couldn't get me because it was so low to the ground because he's so tall at that point.
Right.
But Lurch got fucking pissed at him. At some point, they had a little right, and Lurch whipped out this fucking straight edge razor, man.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna fucking slice your fucking nose off, And right at that moment, it's all sort of converged. Like Arnell came running out of the back of the house that was behind the cafe. That's where we used to party in the alleyway back there.
Mm-hmm.
And he came running out the driveway, and then jumped onto like a brick abutment and jumped off of that and grabbed onto the back of this dude, put him in a headlock, and took him all the way to the ground. And when he hits the ground on his knees, everyone just comes in. I mean, literally beat the fucking shit out of him.
That's the way it usually went down.
And then I remember we let him go, and it was all these like young cats that were hanging around that were trying to like show up because they were like, we want to be in part of you guys, and like come on, give it a couple of years, or whatever. But they chased this fucking guy down the road after we beat him up. They chased they were like, it was just silly, like these little people fucking chasing this huge guy down the road, but chased him up to Hollywood Boulevard and never saw him again.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. It happened a lot. Fetish club thing, like the football team from El Camino comes popping out.
Mm-hmm.
That story I wrote, it's golf or football.
Yeah.
Because they came out with golf clubs and shit, and we're like, what the fuck is going on with these cats, man?
We didn't have golf clubs.
Man,
we had knives.
One of my buddies stole their car, drove it into a wall.
Yeah.
Do you listen to punk rock today?
I listen to such a wide variety of music. I listen to punk. I listen to oi. I listen to hardcore rap. Like, I loved NWA when they first came out. I've liked some techno.
So I like everything from the street, and I also like it. I like anything from the street, and I like anything that's really new and more pure. Like, I wouldn't like country music today.
No, I don't like
but I
country.
can listen to some Willie Nelson or Hank Williams.
You're a better person than me.
No.
I can't listen to any of that.
And that's only really because I was in the Navy and I was stuck in these one-horse fucking towns in Virginia. And when you went to the bar, that was the highlight of the fucking jukebox.
Yeah.
Okay, some that and Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
That was it, man. That was the whole works. So you had to kind of adapt. Have a choice, man. So I like all the I like Viagra Boys and Proto-Martyr and I like the newer stuff. They call it post-punk or whatever.
Yeah.
I just call it punkish. It just kind of it has the seed.
I haven't found myself liking a lot of the new stuff. I'm a big fan of like the old stuff.
I'll have to start sending you stuff because then you'll go like, oh, geez, I like this now. You have a problem. It'll grow on you.
Yeah.
Sometimes like a fungus.
I'd probably have to listen to it for it to grow on me.
Yes and no. There's some that you'll just go with me like, ooh, wait a minute. It's got a nice hook, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Subject matter. Sometimes that matters. Yeah. So through all this shit, what's your first job did you ever have?
Besides like babysitting and stuff like that.
Is that what you started doing?
When I was
was
like
it-
10, 11, 12, but my first
Okay.
real job was Victoria's Secret. And I lasted about 3 months
Okay.
at the Santa Monica Mall.
Okay, holy fuck. So
Yeah,
you worked at the one at the Santa Monica Mall.
I did.
You ready?
Yeah.
My grandmother worked at the Victoria's Secret on Hollywood Boulevard.
Wow.
She was one of their lead salespeople. And one of her greatest friends was John Denver,
Oh, wow.
who used to come in and dress like a woman.
Oh, that's odd.
So, yeah, she would have like private sessions with him, I guess, in one of their little maybe rooms or something that
Okay.
they had at the time. And she'd dress him up like the full, we're going to
Okay.
town, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I remember she would tell us these stories. She loved him to death.
Mm-hmm.
She's not judgmental at all.
Right.
But us as a family, we're like, she'd say da da da, and we go, ooh, you mean the guy, that guy? Yeah. But
Yeah, that was
she
my first real
she was
job.
really, really pretty. One day she goes to leave, and her husband would come by and pick her up after her day's shift, and some black guy in a pimp car, rolls up like, hey baby, like he wants to take her and sell her on the street.
Oh, people used to ask
I'll
us
make
to
you
like
money,
try
babe.
stuff on and model it. It was yeah. That's why I didn't last there that long. It was a weird vibe.
Too funny, man. Yeah, my grandmother she would, she's a wild one, man.
That was funny.
So punk rock, as you lived through it and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
good, bad, ugly.
Absolutely good.
How did that prepare you to? So, like you said, you had this first job, and then what did you do next? Did you go to school?
I went to school. I was back in Maine. I just thought, oh, I'll take an English
Oh,
class.
you went back east?
Just for vacation.
Oh.
For vacation.
Oh, right.
And I was like, oh, I'll just take an English class. That's something to do over the summer, right?
Okay.
So, like, I had never really thought about a career or going to college. And so I just took this English class and I ended up doing really well in it. Like, my teacher was really impressed. My professor, I got like an A+ or whatever. And I was like, maybe I should go to college. And so
Are you in your teens still? 20?
18,
But
yeah.
18? So, okay.
So I applied and got in, and then I got like really determined to do something with my life. And after 2 years in Maine, I came back. I transferred to UCLA,
Okay.
and I graduated from UCLA, and then I got my master's at Cal Lutheran, where Becca is.
Okay, yeah.
And then I just went for my doctorate, all in
So PhD.
PhD in licensed clinical psychologist.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had a myriad of weird jobs that we were talking about before, like security and a bunch of
Whatever
random
it is
stuff.
You
Yeah,
have to do to support
Sure.
going to school, I guess, and
Yeah.
just living your life.
and a lot of internships,
I
a lot of
bet,
poorly paid internships.
Yeah, yeah.
Workers' comp and Malibu Horizon, the Discovery House.
Wow.
Interface and Clinicus, which are out in Ventura.
Drug treatment, does it work?
I think everything can be successful if a person really wants it.
You got to be ready to do it.
You have to be ready and you have to want it. And I really think, although there's something to be said, for addiction's grip, that a lot of people that succumb to it didn't really give it a good fight.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad because I think they could have done so much good if they had hung around.
Yeah.
Just like my fiance.
Yeah, like we were talking about it. Just they miss out on so much shit. Bad times don't necessarily stay forever.
They don't define you.
And they don't. And if you're having a tough time, that's the first thing you got to understand. Like, it's tough now, but tomorrow it's not going to be as tough.
Right.
And what I learned from this now, I know it sucks, but it's learning. You're in school, love life. it's going to help you
Oh yeah.
in the future, and it's going to maybe be able to help someone else. And here's what I mean: you will give that experience to someone else.
Absolutely. And that's what makes experience so meaningful, is if you can use it to help shed the light for someone else. You reminded me that when I graduated continuation, I guess I actually was in Westwood in high school. I just never realized I was in Westwood. My principal said to me, don't even bother applying to college. You'll never get into a 4-year university. Just like go to the local JC or something. But I did get into college, so that also kind of pissed me off, and I wanted to prove her wrong about me.
It's interesting. There were supposed to be educators, and educators really should be
Helpful.
well,
Supportive.
helpful, but inspiring.
Yeah, that wasn't inspiring. That was
That's not
demeaning.
inspiring.
Not inspiring, no.
I had a lot of trouble in school. My parents took me to a doctor at UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
They diagnosed me with having dyslexia, but a little bit different dyslexia. Not like reading dyslexia where you jumble things. It was an audible dyslexia. So like if I sat in a class all day and didn't get an actual physical hands-on something I can hold in my hand, a mimeograph, to do these questions or something, out the window it went, didn't work. And
I didn't try it all in junior high and high school. Like, I didn't even care.
They tested me, and I'm like 13, I think. And they go, oh, well, he has a very high IQ, 144. And he's really good in, like, he's going to be great at art and maybe painting or, all of these different things. My parents were like, oh, shit, he's going to be fucking broke forever. Not like, okay, how do we cultivate this?
How do we work with this?
Okay, so maybe he's going to be an artist, but let's make him an artist that does commercial artistries for business and headstock or something. That wasn't there.
No. And my mother didn't encourage me. She was like, you can just go to cosmetology school. Not that there's anything wrong with cosmetology.
I think that there was a sink or swim mentality in that generation of, like, if you're not going to make it, you're just going to not fucking make it, so go fucking hit the fucking bricks and go do some construction. That's it?
That's it. We were on our own. We were self-raised. We were Gen X. Right?
What challenge would you say, like, as you got out of the scene of punk rock, we go into our civilian, we live in that civilian fucking world out there. God damn it, son of a bitch shit. It's a nightmare. As we go out into that civilian world, you have to work in these companies that are dictatorships and everything else. Those are not democracies.
No.
What about punk rock, or that maybe was established during that punk rock thing? Maybe it's the ethos or something. Did you apply to that? Figured
the
out?
no quit, right? We don't give up. So I didn't give up. I'd never give up. Like, if I wanted to do something,
because you're grinding it out on the street. I mean, if you're fucking grinding, it's fucking cold on the street.
It is.
It's hot on the street.
It's hot. It's cold. Hungry. Thirsty.
People are scummy on the street.
Oh yeah. It gave me a drive, though.
Did it?
It gave me a drive that I'm really thankful for.
Yeah.
So, like, anything I set out that I wanted to do, I was able to do. So I went to school.
Yeah.
I wrote a book. I got my motorcycle license when I was really young.
Mm-hmm.
I got into martial arts and competed for 3 years. Now I'm, like, trying to get my concealed carry. Like, it just gave me a fire that anything I really wanted to do,
if you wanted to do it
badly enough, I could do it. Yeah. We just didn't give up.
See, I've always felt that too. Like, I can do art, I can do music, I can do all sorts of things. People will go like, well, can you do that? Come here, and you're seeking all musical equipment that you're
We were
surrounded by here.
multifaceted.
Yeah. Where other people like, how do you do that? Like, just doesn't click or whatever.
No.
So you rolled around all those gangs. Were they good? Were they bad?
There's good and bad everywhere you go. It was a mix.
Yeah.
You just kind of, like, never knew exactly what was going to happen from day to day. It was different. It was interesting. It was exciting. I mean, you kind of knew you were going to be like
you
on
saw
the
the street
streets.
scene where that was a beef against the cops and everybody.
That was for sure.
But, like, did you ever see any gang rollouts?
Oh
People,
yeah.
who, what, where, what, anything?
Just everybody we've been talking about. I mean,
Yeah.
I was almost shot in gang crossfire, and Ricky Tikki Tavi like pulled me, down behind a truck, and I didn't get
Where was
shot.
that at?
I have,
Oh,
you
I
know
don't
what?
know
This
anymore.
is one of the things
Yeah.
I told you before that I wish I had that really crystal clear
Yeah.
memory like
Dane
Adam Wilson.
Bramage. It's only permanent.
Yeah, but to me, honestly, all of that like was just a huge blur. I could not
Yeah.
tell you what day I went to what show
Oh
where
yeah.
because we were
Yeah.
always doing something,
Yeah.
you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So people who can actually remember, oh, I was at that show that night, I'm like, how on earth do you recall that? My brain just doesn't work that way anymore.
I remember a lot of the different facts, but I don't remember every little
I
fucking
can't remember
detail.
every detail,
You know?
yeah.
And
I mean, I couldn't even tell you who was beefing that night or where we were at. I just remember that people were actually shooting and that Ricky pretty much saved my life. Yeah.
Wow. Did you ever see anything? I mean, you hung out at the cafe. The shit went down there all the time, huh?
Went down there all the time.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like.
We're professional drinkers, smokers.
Right. So remember, I was talking about the house behind cafe. Did you hang out back there? That little alley.
In the alley.
So, yeah, like, oh my god.
Yeah, on Argyle, right?
Yeah.
Is it Argyle? Yeah.
Motherfucking like, I did PCP back there.
I actually saw somebody lit up on PCP walk in front of traffic because they didn't think they could get hit by a car.
Was that me?
No, it was a girl.
Oh, good. Because I remember one time I took like 5 hits off a Sherm, and we had stopped at a light, and we were listening to like some song on the tape deck, and I got out of the car and was dancing. You know, like the kids do now. That's like nothing. Everybody does that shit now, like it's just like a stunt or something. I just got out and started dancing, you know, slamming and shit.
Yeah.
They're like, get in the car. They're like, fucking light's green. Oh, you know, yeah, lost it. You know, and I remember being like so high on the Sherm stick that like I remember Lurch and I were we had both smoked a couple of fucking hits of this stuff, and man, we thought he was like he's all like, oh, are we ever gonna come out of this?
Yeah.
It was just so deep. Like
I had one really bad acid trip at Earl Flynn's. Yeah.
Oh,
Horrible.
yeah.
I never did it again because that trip was so fucking bad.
Yeah. Errol Flynn's, man. How many times did you go up there?
I don't even remember. But
Like a shit fuck ton, right?
Shit
Like if the
all the
cops
time.
came, go to Errol Flynn's. Like
We'd
we
go
were at a
there,
party,
yeah.
go to Errol Flynn's, or fucking Okie Dogs, the cops, Errol Flynn's. And then you'd go up there, and it was, I don't know, like every time I went up there, there was always something going on.
What's
man.
wild to me looking back on it is how did we all find all this stuff before GPS? I get lost in my own neighborhood sometimes when I don't use my phone, and it's like we found our way everywhere, downtown, in the mountains, Errol Flynn's. Like how? I don't know.
A piece of paper.
And
what?
we didn't even have cars. We took the RTD
Oh,
everywhere, and it's
yeah.
like I don't even know how we did all that.
I
Like
remember
I'm so
doing,
impressed
you
that
know,
I
cars
survived.
and just like everybody'd follow each other. All right, we're all going. And fucking 5-6 cars, you know, mosey on up the fucking hills and shit. And it's weird, you know. Errol Flynn's is like it's a nice neighborhood up there. That's a you know. It was a demolished shit ranch, you know, what was left. The pool was there and just a road for the most part, but the fucking view, man.
It was great, wasn't it?
That view was insane.
That beautiful view
like,
of
that
the
dude
skyline.
Must have just,
All the lights
must
in the
have been
city.
amazing, dude, at the time when that place was. And I've seen photographs of it, you know. The pool was there. There was like this pool house with all these glass doors and shit that ran along it. It must have been just something else.
It was really it was a time that we'll never get back.
Funny story about Errol Flynn. Supposedly, like he died in Canada, and they did an autopsy on him, and he was known for having really really bad venereal disease. Yeah. And the fucking doctor cut off, I think a piece of like a wart from his his tallywhacker, right? His dingle dongle, and put it in a jar.
Lovely.
And then like, I don't know. I think they shipped him back here. It's this whole weird fucking story. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like,
it's a strange time.
Not in the name of science, I guess, but
right.
Yeah. Guy was completely diseased. Just completely diseased. Didn't fucking have penicillin there, I don't think, right?
Guess not. Or at least he didn't take any.
Something. So your work now is Is it defined by punk rock in any way?
Yeah, because I work a lot in PTSD and trauma, family law issues, supervised visitation for the courts. So, yeah. I sort of became the person who should have protected me when I was a kid.
Yeah. But, well, somebody's got to fucking protect us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So these kids are in the system and they're obviously going through parental.
Yeah, I worked a lot
divorce and
with kids
such
in
thing.
group homes whose parents were either deceased or incarcerated.
Ugh.
That was an eye-opener.
Yeah.
Very sad. Those kids have it really rough.
You know, you're a kid and you don't get to be a kid, and
Well, we didn't get to be kids either.
and that's why
But we had our freedom.
That's why we're the age we are, and we're still acting out and fucking juvenile. You know,
Not all of
and
us.
I know you have a stable life and all, but you're chaos.
You're funny.
You come from those people, so
I do
you know
come
you're
from
around
those
from all those
people.
people. So you know,
Mm-hmm.
which is good though. It brings some fun to life.
It does.
I think like most of the people our age and older from our generation, like when we were kids, they were fucking ancient, and their life was fucking over.
Right. At 30.
They weren't going to the Big Lebowski Bowling League Championship.
No.
They were not going to, you know what I mean? They stayed at home and they
Smoke cigarettes, drink coffee, and watch TV.
kinda.
Yeah.
And when you were 40, you looked fucking ancient. You know, I'll tell you what. You ever look at like a yearbook from school?
Sure.
From those like my parents' era, they look ancient then. They're like fucking glasses on and fucking ties and shit and in our generation, yeah. Remember looking at 40 years old and just going like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, that fucking shit's over. Like,
yeah,
you know,
it's
like,
over.
all right, you know, wow. Every once in a while you'd see, a prettier, older person or a handsome, probably gentleman, you know, whatever. But you'd go, oh, okay, they're probably pretty
The
good
exception.
back in the day, you know. But their lives weren't like filled with activities like today. You know, moms are going to yoga and it's hot yoga and then it's Pilates and then it's fucking shooting and, you know, who did this shit? Nobody.
They just went to work and went home.
So the parameters have grown, you know.
Yeah.
We push things out and the further edge. Definitely our generation has
Absolutely.
contributed to that. You know, I mean, people do shit now they never fucking even dreamed of, you know. I mean, again, you know. I went to that punk rock bowling shit for like 10 years in a row.
I never went to PRB.
And it's like everybody was 40, 30, you know, and it was like I remember it was like going like to a high school reunion with everybody that hung out in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
That was what it was like. When the early days, you know, they'd have it at Sam's Town and stuff. So you'd walk around and you fucking knew everybody. You know, it was like, holy fuck, you're alive. Because there was that gap, you know, maybe 20 years or
A
something.
lot of the people that I hung out with are not alive, though. A lot
Yeah,
of
I
them
know.
have passed away,
Yeah.
either from like overdoses or
Yeah.
illnesses related to drugs and drinking.
Yeah.
I lost a lot of friends.
Yeah. Again, it was a heavy scene.
It was.
I mean, I know that the scene that preceded us, like the hippie scene, it ended up in heroin deaths and
Yeah.
all of that shit, and Janice and Jimmy and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. I mean, on and on and on.
I remember babysitting people in parking lots who were like nodding on heroin and
Oh, really?
let them put their head in my lap and make sure they were okay until they woke up again.
Wow. It's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I've known a lot of people that like came into the scene like 3 years later than I did and stuff, and then they would hang around with like people that I knew that I already knew. You don't want to hang around them, and they would just hang around them, and they were there like sober, and because you know they hadn't gotten there, but they'd be there procuring drugs and scoring with them or with them on the score or watching them bomb out in the bathroom, you know, and sleep for fucking.
Yeah, I mostly saw like drinking and heroin, so it was a real awakening for me later to see like stimulants and speed.
The speed and stuff. Yeah.
Because I didn't see that. I mean, I know there were speedballs occasionally, but like I mostly saw downers like heroin, marijuana, alcohol.
See, when I was first into punk, there was a lot of speed.
Yeah.
There were always, and it, like if you stayed
Maybe
out.
just not among the people I knew.
I remember like the first time really ever doing speed was like I had a friend, and my friend told his parents that he was over going to my pad, and I might told my parents I was going to his pad, and we just fucking went out for the fucking night.
Right.
But now we're out on the night's air, and we're running around all night, and we did some speed because we were like, we're not gonna fucking sleep, but where we're gonna fucking sleep under a fucking train? I mean, what? There's nowhere to go.
No.
And if you did, who knows what can fucking happen to you? So that was kind of the first time I ever really did that shit. But it was common, man. That was common.
Yeah.
The heavier shit came a little bit later, I thought. Ludes were there. There was something that people used to call placidils.
Yeah, I didn't
grasshoppers.
actually see a lot of that.
There was a lot of pills. Like I remember being in junior high, and like on
like
on the
cross
fucking
tops and stuff.
yeah, man, on the playground, and like a guy would like fucking selling cross tops or black beauties or pink ladies or you're like, what the fuck, But later, fucking heroin. Nobody did heroin.
Actually, everybody I knew.
That's
hung
what
out
like
with did heroin.
from my generation initially. Like nobody I knew did heroin.
Yeah.
And then the only person we did was like Sid Vicious. You're like you get in the pocket. He was a heroin addict. Look at him. Like come on. So, but again, it's all a matter of degree, and it's you're building these friendships and connections, and next thing you know, you start one thing, you go to the next, and some people get shit. I mean, there's so many different substances. I knew people that got hooked on coke, like fucking boom, one taste, boom. They're like they can't stop no more, Knew a couple. They owned like 5 gas stations, had a race car, race boat, right? Worth millions of dollars. Went to a party, friend says, hey, ring a ding ding. Bam! 6 months to a year later, he was out living in one of the gas stations and selling parts to fund his habit. And they were divorced, basically, or whatever, separated.
Sad.
You're like, dude. And a couple kids, too. So, it's good that you turned around.
Thanks.
But it didn't sound like you were like really heavily into anything.
I never was. I just didn't. I drank mostly. I didn't really get into the drug use. It just never did anything for me. I tried everything once, but I didn't have like a really great experience or reaction with any
You
of
mentioned
it.
like your mom and your dad kind of drinking and no. Like, is it just like were you like so turned off by
My
that?
mother she had like classic dry drunk behavior. So she was just like, she was an angry person. And she should have like, it looked like she should have been an alcoholic, but she didn't really drink that much. She just had that personality, that rageful personality.
Yeah. Again, hurt somewhere along the line.
Probably. But like caffeine and nicotine, and those were her substances.
Sure.
My dad didn't. He drank a little bit, but not. I wouldn't say he had like any kind of problem with alcohol. I also want to clarify that, like, I'm not saying any particular people did drugs. It was just around me. Like, even just people on the street, strangers and stuff. You know what I mean?
In Hollywood?
In Hollywood, yeah.
It was hookers and pimps, man.
Yeah, it was hookers, pimps, dope dealers, gangbangers, yeah. That's kind of all there was. Homeless people, yeah.
Yeah, I remember, like, we were at the cafe and someone was like, oh, we're going to go get some crystal meth. That was like the first time I ever heard of it. And we'd gone up to a restaurant right on Hollywood Boulevard. The person who was working there sold it to us.
Probably was around. I guess I just didn't notice it.
It was around.
Yeah.
If you don't use it, you don't use it. And if your friends aren't using it, then too. So like if they're all using heroin and other things.
I remember that was the main thing when I was hanging out on the streets was heroin. Yeah, heroin, drinking, and marijuana.
It had really got. I think it's probably because like it really gotten to that point. Like I know all my buddies are all junked up and. It's weird. There's some photographs I've seen, or that I have actually. They took, or people took of me, and there's people in the picture, and just go like, "Dude, that guy's so fucking high on heroin, man." I remember that dude, like he was like not functional.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just sort of float around.
Yeah, we lost a lot of good people, like Adam and BJ and.
Yeah. Well, they made it. They made it.
Not BJ.
Technically, they made it.
Not the BJ who's still around. I want to clarify.
Yeah. I mean, technically, a lot of those guys made it
Mm-hmm.
they made it past 40s.
Yeah.
So they're successful in a sense.
Right.
We have health issues that arise at some point, but like the people that like 18, 19, 20, 20s, all just all those people that died in their 20s that we knew, all the people that died in their 30s that we knew,
Mm-hmm.
and then the guys that got sober and they go back and I'm just gonna have a taste.
Mm.
And taste kills them.
Taste kills them. Yeah. It's the end.
All right, folks. I think that's it. I'm tired. Are you tired?
I'm okay.
Um,
You didn't get a lot of sleep last night. You're tired.
yeah, I don't know why, man. I just, I get so nervous.
Aw. Don't be nervous.
Guys, gals, thanks for listening to our show. We're going to keep putting these out, obviously. So there we go. Our interview with Babyface.
Thank you.
A.K.A. Heidi. Thank you for being on the show, and thanks for coming out a second time.
Thank you for inviting me.
I really appreciate that. All right, guys. Talk to you soon.
Bye.